we have all these
different buttons. Okay, there we go.
Hey.
Check. Hey, y'all crazy. You crazy.
Hey, great segue. David Kaminsky, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Thank you for coming to the studio.
Appreciate it. It's a wonderful space.
No, thank you very much. We've bled and cried over many square feet of it.
We only bleed when Andrew shoots you with the nail gun.
The nail gun is the greatest invention that we've had here, but it's quite dangerous.
They're very handy.
In some hands.
I got an air compressor. It's fun.
It is fun. Saves you a ton of time.
Definitely.
Okay, Dave. Who is Dave Kaminsky? Who is Dave Kaminsky really?
Oh man. I'm a lot of things. I consider myself just a creative person. Just someone who loves to be creative and make art and get weird. I think what's weird is when I was a kid, I used to draw all the time. I would always be drawing and sketching. I would always find, like, no matter where I was, I would never be bored. My dad would take me to work. I'd sit under his desk and, like, make paperclip monsters, whatever. Always some sort of way to create. And it never dawned on me that that's what I should do for my job until my dad was like, I'm not paying for theater, boy. He doesn't talk like that. It's more like,
Yeah, it's not so. Let me tell you something, boy.
I've been in the South too long. It'd be more like, David, I'm not paying for theater. It's crap for you.
So, okay. So, born in Georgia,
Yep.
former Soviet Union, moved to the United States. How old were you?
I was 3 when we emigrated, refugeed.
And then you bounced around a little bit and you landed in Oakland?
No, I was in Jersey, Florida, Switzerland, and then
Switzerland's not in the United States.
And then we settled in Charlotte. My parents liked it.
There's a little Switzerland in North Carolina.
There is actually.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not where you were.
No. Actual Switzerland. My parents were engineers, so they moved around a lot with this company, and then they quit and started their own business here in Charlotte.
So how much of your childhood did you spend in Charlotte?
I moved here when I was in 7th grade, half of 7th grade.
Okay. The formative years.
Yeah.
You spent here.
What was that like?
That was a transition. Like, coming from Jersey to Charlotte was like a little bit of a culture shock for sure. And I consider myself a country boy now. I'm definitely a country boy.
Oh, when I think country, I think Dave.
Yeah, but I also love the city. I love the city and the pavement. But yeah, moving to Charlotte, I was in Sun Valley for half a year, and man, I didn't understand some of the things they would say. Like, we're sitting in class reading a book, and you better put that book up, and I'm raising the book in the air, and they're like, "You get smart with me." Well, I'm trying to by reading the book, and that didn't go over well.
And they moved again.
Yeah.
Time to head to Charlotte.
Yeah.
Okay, so artist, illustrator, animator, not a theater nerd, because your dad said no. So you went to school for illustration, animation, or really just
graphic
illustration?
Design. Graphic design.
Okay.
Yeah, graphic design. App State.
Yeah.
And there's a heavy fine art influence there at App State. So a lot of, working in the studio, working with my hands, drawing, sculpting.
Yep.
So that definitely fueled me. And all the art kids were like, man, this sucks. He gets to do all the stuff we're doing, but then he gets a job when he graduates. That's really weird how that works.
How did it work after you graduated? What happened?
I got a job in 3-4 months. So my mom found a little ad in the paper for part-time designer needed at WAXN TV. And I was like, Mom, I don't know nothing about television. She's like, give it a shot.
Well, nobody knows about WAXN TV.
Not anymore.
We dominate the 2 a.m. time slots.
So at that time, animation was what? Quark? Right? And
Yeah,
what was
Quark
design
TV.
and animation? It was Quark?
There was After Effects. After Effects was happening.
Yeah.
I got
It was early, though.
It was very early. It was 4.5 or something. I mean, I got thrown into it. I knew nothing about After Effects.
Yeah.
I learned on the job, and
I hear that.
That's how it went.
I mean, I think that's how. I think that's a great way to learn, though. Yeah.
Jeff Hollaby threw me in there.
Oh, Jeff Hollaby. That's right.
He's like, "Here's your desk. Have fun." And that was it. It was fun. It was fun playing around.
What year was that? When was that?
That was 2001, I think.
Yeah, that was early
2000
on.
or 2001.
That was before they even bundled the entire package. So if you wanted After Effects, that was a separate package. What you looking for, sir?
My beard.
Oh,
There it is.
So when you were up there with Jeff Hollop doing cool creative stuff, there were two guys down in the Daybreak news editor position hating life.
You were one of them.
Oh yeah,
that was the other.
Yeah.
Yep.
There was another
we
guy
started at the bottom and made it to the top.
I don't think I ever saw you. Did you guys ever see me there? I don't remember.
No, you guys had your little elitist cave that you like. It was even physically raised. Like to get to you, you had to step up.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? Paint box or upstairs?
I
Yeah,
guess.
upstairs.
Were you upstairs or in paint
Sussman-
box?
So I was upstairs. I was never in paint box.
Right.
That was like a weird realm for me because I was AXN, so I was doing like creative stuff. But all the
Right.
news people, I was like, "What is it? What are they
Right.
doing there?" It was real weird. People crying and stuff. Like I didn't want to.
For everybody watching this, there's a lot of crying, like a lot.
I feel like we're totally derailing this thing.
We go way back.
It's good lessons. Yeah. Okay, so when did you go to Oakland then? Because I do remember you. My first stint there. I think you actually made like a graphic like loop for me to put on a demo reel,
Oh, that's cool.
and then I think you went to Oakland after that. Correct?
Yeah, it was like 2001, end of 2001. I got a design director position out there at one of our sister stations, KICU TV, and kind of started that station from the ground up. So it was real exciting. You
Yeah.
know, I was having it from a part-time job to be the design director and like get to build the station out and all the graphics.
Yeah.
That was exciting. That was a big thing.
Yeah. And then you came back.
I came back after a kid was on the way, so I wanted to get back to family. And my mom again found a ad in the paper. Hey, look, there's a design director position in Charlotte.
I like how everyone in your family has that Southern accent.
I know. And they're all immigrants as well. They literally don't talk like that. But,
No, I remember. I remember when Melissa left.
yeah.
And there was a vacancy.
Yeah.
And I remember them saying,
sorry.
"Well, Dave Kaminsky's coming back."
Yeah.
So yeah,
That was
I remember him
exciting.
coming back.
What was the hardest part about that type of job, especially once you got to the art director job?
Man, it's always the people, man. Like the graphics part is pretty easy, but the people and the politics and all that stuff gets in the way. You know, people have big heads. They want things a certain way. They want to prove certain things for some reason. People want it blue when you want it green. You know, there's all this stuff, and managing all the people conflicts. I feel like that's the hardest thing.
Yep, that's a definite.
You know.
I know. Oh, I know. You know this guy? I know. I've worked with him half of my life, I think.
Wow,
That's
awesome.
weird.
It's pretty close, right?
Well, that's cool. That
Maybe
you
not
guys built
half.
this up.
It's a lot.
I mean, professional life, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so something we were talking about the other day, which I thought was funny because I went through the same thing, which I guess is just a sign of the age. It was going through college and learning these programs alongside the instructors.
Oh yeah.
That was wild.
Yeah. We had a digital imaging class in college. And it was just like free for all. Like the professor was
Totally.
like, "Look at these
Totally.
cool programs. Let's do some stuff." And so it was just like wild. Like he would give us parameters, and we get to go crazy with it, and it was fun.
We had like an open brief. I was in the first Photoshop class they had at my school,
Yeah.
and they're like, make an image.
Yeah,
And so mine was compositing several different images into like one, which makes sense for later on when we got into matte painting. Like, it makes total sense.
yeah,
But everyone in that class was pretty talented and very like curious, and they would do way different things.
yeah.
And every class, someone was like, "How the fuck did you do that?" And it's like, you just click this little weird button,
Yeah.
and like weird things happen.
Yeah.
But it was wild. It was kind of like the Wild West.
It was fun.
It was fun.
I did enjoy it. I remember one guy in our class, like he made like a video game, but like he designed it all and programmed it. I don't know what program he used, but it was really crazy. It was like you could click on stuff and things would happen. And
We never had a Photoshop class.
yeah,
So
I know.
we were broadcast journalism, and I just got lucky. My the head of the department hooked me up with an internship at a post house, and I walked in, and they're like, "Do you know Photoshop?" I said, "I don't." They're like, "Well, you're no good to us." I'm like, well, that's humbling. They're like, "Go to that office." So I went over there and I sat there, and for about 6 months, I cut out high school students for their senior pictures on top of their like LaGrange High School.
Oh yeah.
And after 6 months, this guy, Chris Lognon, who's a great guy, he came in, he's like, "All right, you kind of get this." I'm like, I'm wrapping my head around it. He goes, Now we're going to make it move. And he showed me After Effects. And I'm like, oh, okay. Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I got my first After Effects from a friend who worked for Adobe on like tech support. And he just gave me all the CDs and DVDs.
Dude, that's worth. At the time,
Oh my God.
it was
a differentiator.
Oh yeah.
At the time, I'm sorry, Adobe, I love you guys, but like you had to rip it off to learn it.
Yep.
I mean, it was an impossible formula.
I mean, I was lucky that I went and read the manual and the fine print of
course you did.
of the license agreement. I was like, whoa, I can have this on 2 computers. So I put it on my home computer so I could practice and stuff. And that's how you learn it, really.
We just stole it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's fun.
Same thing happened with Studio Max, though.
Yeah,
I found the program, but then I found a folder associated and it had all these Star Wars spaceship models.
Oh wow.
I'm like, what is this? And this smug dude's like, that's very hard. Don't worry about that. I'm like, don't ever say that to me because now I got to know.
Actually.
Smug.
So let's flip gears a little bit
All right.
and talk about the illustrations and labeling that you've been doing
Yeah.
in your newest venture. So you've left broadcast corporate world,
Yep.
and now you're totally solo, running your own business.
Cast all that aside and went and ventured forth. No, man, it's so exciting. I can't tell you. Like I just got a gig yesterday. Somebody wrote in on my website and they want me to do an illustration for this historical site in Richmond, Maymont. I don't know if you heard of it. And they want to do like where the wild things are, but in the
cool.
But some of their farm animals, like some of their goats and chickens, but in the style of where the wild things are for this invite that they're doing for their anniversary.
Oh, that's cool.
So
Super
I
cool.
Like, that's exciting, That's like really bizarre. Like,
And that's just a cold email that someone sent you because they saw your work.
well, someone gave a recommendation
Okay.
in Richmond, a friend of mine, Joshua Barber, shout out, and yeah, I mean, it's like, and all the work I've gotten has been that way. I've
Yeah.
never gone and been like, hey, do you guys need somebody? It's always someone coming to me and saying, hey, somebody said you can draw a penis. No, I mean, it's just like, it's just word of mouth,
So you can't draw a penis.
I'm terrible at it, but I practice sometimes in the bathroom.
What's it like when you leave your quote corporate sponsor and decide to go out on your own? What's that feel like?
It feels like spreading wings and jumping off a cliff and like knowing how to use those wings. That's what it feels like.
That's cool.
But it's still scary to jump off that cliff,
Right.
But it's exhilarating. Like it's open world. Like you can go wherever you want, do whatever you want.
Tell me you wake up in the morning and you're just like, oh, the sun's coming through the window and
I mean, I remember like my first day on my own. I remember like turning off my alarm clock, like deleting all my alarms. Like
That's
I don't
cool.
need them. It's amazing.
if they make a movie about you, that's a great scene. You know what? delete.
Delete all the alarms.
So I'm going to pull up some of your. This is your website, obviously.
Yeah.
You have a ton of illustrations. First of all, like,
Ton.
a lot of brewery illustrations. It's crazy that you keep busy doing so much, but that's like incredibly awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah,
it's crazy to look back and see all the stuff I've done.
well, that's what I wanted to ask.
I mean,
like,
each one
there's
of
so
each one
many
of those
these.
is a year's worth. There's a year's worth in each one of those squares. So if you
Wow.
hover over it, you'll see like it'll show what year it is.
What I love about it is when I go buy some beer, and then I go in and I'm looking at beer, I'm like, my partner, my partner, right there.
It's funny, like working for those two different. They're so different, the two breweries. Like,
Yeah.
their personalities and stuff, and like making sure that the work that I do is very varied for each one.
But it's so good.
Thanks, man.
It's so good.
I really appreciate you saying that because I love the validation, but I also have so much fear every time I sit down to do a label that I'm like, holy crap, I don't think I can fucking do this. I can't pull this off.
How do you? That's hilarious, first of all. But like, I'm more concerned. Like, how do you keep coming up with ideas? Because there's so many.
Oh, I love this. Look at that. The life.
Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot. 90% of the times, they just give me the title and what type of beer it is, and then I come up with the idea for. Sometimes they'll throw in what kind of what they want, but it's rare. Usually,
That's a lot of trust from them.
It is.
This one, Warm My Bones, that was a 1 day label. They called me in the
Get
morning.
outta here.
They called me in the morning. They're like, "Oh shit, Dave, we forgot this one. Can you just whoop something together? Just put it together." And I started in the morning. I sent it to them in the evening, and it's like one of my favorite ones.
Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's so different and it's so low key compared to a lot of the other ones. It's so bright.
Yeah, the Heist stuff is always colorful and fun, and for Divine it's always one object. I don't know why, it doesn't make any sense really, but just one object, just to highlight that one object, but make it kind of funky, something weird about it, you know.
I mean, look at this. You've been doing this for years. 23, 23, 22, all the way
2016.
down 17, 16, yeah.
16 is when I started.
And you do all of this digitally. You don't use any pen and paper anymore, so
No.
you do it all digitally.
The first Heist beer label that I did, I was freaking out because I was like, how am I going to do this on a Wacom? And I did. I drew it on a Wacom tablet.
With
looking
what
at,
software?
Photoshop.
Photoshop.
Yeah.
Then are you still using Photoshop? Or are you Procreate? Or what do you?
I'm using Adobe Fresco.
Fresco. I do know Fresco. Yeah.
I started Fresco when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, this
You know
is
why? Because
awesome.
shout out to Adobe, their watercolor stuff blows everybody else out.
And
of
their
the water.
vector brushes too. Like
Really?
Fresco vector brushes. So all this stuff, this is all vector brush. All of these are vector brush. And like it is, it's just so fun.
I mean, the variety of styles, it really truly blows my mind. Like a lot of people have a certain look they develop, and that's it. Like that's their commercial look.
You see
right,
their
right,
you see
right.
their work and it all looks like their stuff.
And by the way, this reminds me of Tom Waits, which reminds me of the first time I knew I liked you. I thought I liked you, but I walked into your office one day and you had a picture of Tom Waits up on the wall. Like he's all right.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of
Gained
Tom
my
Waits.
trust.
He's,
I don't remember when I first met you. You were just always kind of there,
Yeah, this is just a 9 or 11.
like a rash.
God, he just won't go away. Yeah,
God, dude. I mean, they're just so good. They're so vibrant.
I feel like I feel like a chameleon in that sense, as far as like stylistically. Like I feel like I can adapt and be whatever. I mean, I think you can kind of pick out some of my styles, but
I mean, but do you ever get? Yeah, but they're varied, and I mean, they're so varied.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
the thing. Is like I think there's enough variation. You're never going to be able to pinpoint you to one thing. Because even some of them are even more flat. What is it? Divine? It feels like a little bit more flat.
Well, that's where you said there's one
Like
thing
there's
in
always
Divine.
one
There's not
object.
heavy compositing in
It's
Divine.
always one object.
Yeah.
I like that though.
Oh, that's great.
I remember
It's
with
very
that logo. I remember coming to your office. You're like, check this out. I'm like,
the logo for the brewery.
I
Yeah,
remember
yeah,
you
yeah.
doing that.
It's funny because Ben, the head brewer, I knew him for a while before he started Divine, and he was doing like homebrew competitions and things like that, and he wanted me to do labels for that. And when he started the brewery, he's like, I want you
so
to
good,
help
man.
me out with this. Will you do it? I was like, absolutely. And he's like, I'm starting a brewery called Divine Barrel. He's like, but for the logo, I don't want a barrel and I don't want a halo, goddammit. I was like, all right.
Everyone's Southern in David's world.
Everybody talks like this.
And so I did. That's what I did. I was like, Ben, don't get mad at me now.
I love
So
that.
good.
Big Lebowski. That's
So
great.
do you ever like have a project or a moment of when you're starting a project and it's just a blank screen and you're like, fuck, what am I going to do? And if you do, what do you do to get out of it?
Yeah, I mean, take a roll up a doobie
Fantastic.
and have a couple scotches and think on it.
It's 7 a.m.
I mean, a lot of these labels are, they take time to concept, and like
Yeah.
a lot of people don't appreciate that part of design work and artwork is what goes into that final product. It's not
Yeah.
just the work itself
Sure.
to draw it. You also have to have the concept and what does it mean and all the hidden things that are in there. I love putting in, especially Divine stuff. There's so much hidden stuff in there, and like weird little. Because I'll spend time researching and looking into stuff, and that's a fun part of it. But yeah, when you get stuck, you just have to push through it. It doesn't happen to me often, I will say. I feel like I just have like a drive or a push to get it out. I'm not like what am I gonna draw today? No, it's not. It's like, let's go. I got
Is
a
it-
whole Rolodex of things I want to do.
Is it important to start an idea and like test it out quickly and see if it works or not, and then if it doesn't, just go to the next thing, or do you like focus on one and make it work?
I sometimes will jump around.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of digital, is that you don't have to worry. You're not going to ruin the paper. You're not going to waste the paint. You're not going to destroy something and have to start over. You can just go and just be fearless. Like, try it out. Try it out, man.
Process wise, say you're locked in on something you can't figure it out. Is there anything you do to kind of jumpstart your melon creatively?
I mean, step away. Like, take some deep breaths. Like, just step away for a little bit. Always helps me.
Is this for public consumption?
Yeah, let's drink one of those.
All right,
Let
let me go get some
pick,
glasses.
pick which one you want. Or we
I
can drink
did.
both of them.
I did. I want to do that one.
Violence.
We'll start with that one.
Yeah.
Can we like Joe Rogan it and go pee real quick? Because you know how he goes.
Want to take a pause?
Yeah.
We'll take a pause.
Take a
All
pause.
right.
Keep it running. All right, are we back? Let's do a quick toast to your illustrations.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks, Jill.
Thank-
Thanks, gentlemen.
Hey, and thanks for bringing this in too.
Yeah, cheers.
Lord.
You know what this? Yeah, this is. That's meaty.
That's a meal.
Oh my lord. So this is a 17
that's
to
good.
20-month-old bourbon barrel-aged imperial stout, 13.3.
What's the difference
Tom would
between
love
an
that.
imperial stout and a stout?
Imperial stout is it's stronger because it's been aged longer.
Oh, it's imperial.
Well, it's imperial.
I think stouts are like quick brews,
Got it.
and then imperial stout has been like aged.
Well, it's definitely like dense. Like it's
Yeah, I mean it's like
full of flavor. It's really good.
it's almost like drinking a brandy or something like
Right.
it's like
Mm-hmm.
kind of definitely winter thing.
So I have a question. Did you want to go ahead?
No, go for it.
So everybody sitting at the table has daughters, and creative ones. So piggybacking off of another podcast we did, we were talking about maintaining creativity in children.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for young people or someone with a child to let them hang on to their creativity instead of
yeah.
losing it in the world, which I feel like happens a lot?
Yeah, it's really important. I think one thing is to always have the tools available to them. Kind of like if you want a kid to read, just have books around or take them to the library. If you want a kid to make art, give them all the supplies they need to make that art. Make it available. And don't stigmatize it. Do it yourself, do some art. Make it.
That's the best.
I think everybody should make art. Even if you're not an artist, just do it.
And it's okay to make it and throw it away.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah.
I mean, people that aren't race car drivers drive cars, so everyone can make art.
This label,
Yeah.
was there any sort of inspiration behind this one? Because I'll tell you why in a second. Let me ask you first. Was there inspiration behind it?
You mean visually, like from something else, or
Sure.
Not particular. I mean, City of Lost Children a little bit.
Yes, that's what I thought of. City of Lost Children.
Yeah. I mean that stuff definitely influences me. This was a challenging one because they're using a Nas lyric for the title of this beer, but I don't necessarily think that they wanted me to reference New York City in this, because that's kind of what the song's about. But I wanted to kind of give this like city vibe to it. It's kind of, but it's also reflecting the tombstones. And,
Yeah. It's so moody. It's
yeah,
fantastic.
That's
But
a fun piece.
it did remind me of City of Lost Children, and the reason I love that movie so much, it's visually so dense.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in that movie.
Yeah.
And that was also the first time they did a digital matte painting in a movie.
Really?
Oh, really?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah, it was like 92,
Yeah.
91, 92.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's about right. That's when I saw it.
Really cool. And that's also when they had, remember the green smoke that came up through the staircase?
Mhm.
That was the first time they were using particles.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that cool?
See, I'm going to have to go back now.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's a great movie.
Yeah.
So do you have any favorites? Like, or is it just like,
Yeah, I mean, I do. I do have favorites. I mean, I love them all. I don't ever let them go until I feel like they're good enough for public consumption.
how long does it take you generally? Say for one illustration. I know it's going to vary. How long does it take you for this one to concept it, to do iterations, to finalize it?
I'd say total time spent, probably 6 to 10 hours. I'd say.
Wow.
I mean, the concepting sometimes takes just as long as the
Yeah.
drawing. But it's so varied, man. It really is. Sometimes it's like straight to paper or to iPad, straight to iPad with the thing and get it out. Sometimes it's like erase it and start over.
Sure.
This and tweak it.
Do you keep plugging away at it until are you a perfectionist?
To a certain extent, yeah. Yeah, if something's bothering me, I'm not going to let it go. I'm not going to be like, whatever. I have to get it. I have to get it so it sits right with me before it goes out, for sure.
We've talked about this
Yeah.
a lot. Like,
Yeah.
at what point do you let something...
It's just, it's like anything. It's like when it feels right? I mean, there's been times when I've had the final in my email draft ready to hit send, and I'm like, wait, what the fuck is that in that little corner?
Yeah.
I'm like, nope. And I got to go back, open it up, redo the damn thing, upload it again, fix the font, the whole thing. Just because one little thing's off, I've got to get it right.
It's interesting. I know a lot of people get bogged down and then nothing goes out.
No,
So-
I complete things.
We-
I
what-
definitely complete things.
Dude.
I start things and I finish things.
See, I usually feel, I don't know, for me personally, I feel like I have this 80% rule. Like, if I'm getting close and the timeline's tight, sometimes I'll just let it go.
But
You
I
know?
mean, sometimes 80% is actually 100%.
Right, that's a-
It's just you got the wrong glasses.
Because you
on.
can pick a scab forever.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
I was going to give you about a 30%.
I feel bad for people that have that issue, like that they never feel that it's done. Like that's a terrible curse, man. Terrible curse. Because everything has a completion point,
Well-
whether it's there or not.
And I think you do have to think about what is the life cycle for each piece of work, too.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like if it's going to be seen by 10 people in one time, okay.
Yeah.
If it's going to be out there forever taunting
Right.
you because you
Yeah.
didn't fix one thing,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
fix
yeah,
it.
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
I love that friendly reminder.
Yeah, that was a
Great.
fun one. That's a quick one.
I'm bad about noodling stuff to death.
Yeah.
I need someone to be like, it's done.
Yeah.
You're good.
Yeah. I mean, I probably went through some of that, but I think with experience and after doing it for a while, you just kind of.
Do you have deadlines for these usually? I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like, so that helps
Yeah.
also frame.
It does. It lets me kind of get my mind in that frame. I'm like, I know I need to get it done by this time. I've got this much time to think about it and set myself. And it's challenging now because there's a lot more that
Yeah.
I'm doing, not just day job.
So good.
Tell me, what's
That's
your
good.
day like? Tell me about your day.
Oh man, that's I don't know if I want to share that. Okay, my day starts at 5 a.m. I have a granola smoothie, and that sounds so gross. Actually, no, I'll get up, whenever 7:30, and if I gotta take the kid to school, I'll get up earlier. But I have a run, a shower, a coffee, do some word games maybe, and then get to it. Sit around, maybe put some tunes on.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go do some shopping. I noticed lately that I'm like getting more creative when the darkness comes in the nighttime because nobody's bothering me and stuff. It's a little better that time.
See, that's weird. I feel like I'm stronger out of the gate.
Really? That's
Yeah, I
interesting.
feel like the early in the morning until
Yeah.
probably about noon is when I really work better. That's why I was asking.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm curious.
If it's like animation or something corporate, yeah, the morning times I'll get it done then. But if I'm like, want to get creative, it'll be in the nighttime. Get some scotch in me and other things and have some fun.
Sing some 80s ballads.
Yes.
And,
That's right.
So believe it or not, we've gone 30 minutes already. Wow. So we're going to start to wrap it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You were deliver on this one. Out of all the people out there, doesn't have to be design. Who are the best artists to follow right now? Like who's on your feed? Who is in your mind that when you look at stuff right now, you're like, that's interesting.
Man, I'm so terrible with names, Andrew. I couldn't tell you. I really couldn't. I mean, I know I follow so many crazy artists out there. I don't know names, honestly. Like, look, you can see who I follow and look at that. But it's an amazing time for art right now.
Yeah.
Just the technology, and there's so much out there. There really is. There's some talented freaking people out in the world, and it's amazing that you can see them all on like Instagram or whatever. But there's a lot of talent out there. I think a lot of it gets overlooked, and I think a lot of people spend way too much time comparing themselves and worrying.
True.
Yes.
And I think that's the danger of social media and of Instagram, and on the artist's psyche and on our own kind of egos. And there's this whole everybody worries, am I good enough? And just fuck it, just do it. Just stop fucking worrying about it.
Or they're chasing an algorithm. Like
Or they're
that.
chasing-
Yeah, that stuff, I can't stand that stuff.
Yeah.
I really can't. Like, you got to post every day. No, I don't have to post every day. Yeah. I can do. I'm just doing it for me, and I'm just doing it. This is just what we do.
So, music-wise, because I know, like we've talked about this before,
Yeah.
music to me is huge for motivation.
Oh yeah.
Even if it's spacey lo-fi, if
Yeah.
it's something super.
Oh, it'll change the mood.
psychedelic.
It'll change everything.
Totally. Like,
Yeah.
So a lot of times I'll use that as a backdrop. Like if I get stuck, I put music on and I'll just stare at a screen or a piece of paper
Yeah.
and let things start to come.
Music is definitely like, man, it just like carries you.
Do you listen
really
to
does.
lo-fi at all?
Sometimes, yeah.
I love lo-fi.
Yeah.
I just got my first album.
It's pretty
Like
great.
you have to pre-order these lo-fi albums.
Oh, that's
it takes
cool.
like 4 months, and it's slow boats. I'm pretty sure there's a guy rowing this album across the Pacific. But I thought we finally got it
That's
back
awesome.
there. Yeah, it's pretty
Nice.
cool. And the art
really
on
good.
it's great.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like it all.
Yeah. I've been going back a little bit of drum and bass, like 90s drum and bass.
Yeah.
I've been listening to that lately, which is super fun. Everybody around me fucking hates it, but I love it. Like techno and stuff, man, it's so great. But, I go back to like
Dave's house.
indie, like sleepy cry indie stuff. I love that too. National, and man, there's so much good music.
I've gone way back into like the new wave stuff.
Yeah.
And it is fun.
That's
It's a
fun.
good change of pace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
music is great, man. Music is great. Music and art, man,
Totally.
they're like this.
I think the reason I fell in love with like audio so much is when I was growing up, my dad had the grape vineyard and we had to work in it all. So when everyone else was watching MTV and
Oh, wow.
sleeping in, we were outside working, right?
Yeah.
And so all we had was basically that little portable radios at the time, right? Pre phones and all that stuff. But I think that's when I got into like a lot of the really interesting and a lot of really weird, but really different types of music.
Yeah.
Because you can't listen to one thing all day long.
Yeah.
After 8 hours, you're like,
No.
I need something different.
Yeah.
So I got really schizophrenic where I would jump from like something super ethereal to like
Yeah.
just something super brash.
Yeah.
It was, but to
that's
me, that
great.
was always like when I get stuck, I put music on.
It's funny when we lived way out in the country when I was a kid. Mom wouldn't get in from work till 6 something, and I got off the bus at like 3:30 or something. But it was all her albums.
Oh, heck
So it was
yeah.
all vinyl.
Yeah.
So like it was, I would hop from Kiss, Alive to Linda Ronstadt to Buddy Holly to Jimi Hendrix to Blue. So
Changing LPs?
yeah,
dude? Oh, yeah.
just-
I mean, that's how I grew up. My dad had a big record collection.
Yeah.
Same.
I mean, I would explore that thing. When they go out of the house, I'd pull on some records and just sit there and like read the lyrics and listen to that stuff.
And even today, I find myself leaning back towards it. Like I really like. We have a record player here, and I like going in. and-
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, my mom had all like the oldies, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which everything's old now, but like it was like all the bebop,
Yeah.
all of the Beach Boys, and so I was the youngest of 3. They would go to school, and I remember being 4 and putting on records, and she was like doing stuff around the house. Like, it was cool, and I just to this day, like my favorite shirt is one my wife bought me. That is the Black Flag logo with Beach Boys on it.
Oh, that's funny.
Because the two extremes are just like that makes sense
That's
to me.
really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
We need to do another one of these with you. There's still a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah,
I
man.
feel I can't believe it.
Okay, sure. Let's do it.
Cool.
Are we down?
Any so last words? Any tips? Budding creatives out there trying to just get into the field. Any advice?
Don't worry about plugins. Stop following trends. Do what feels right. Follow your guts. You know what looks good. I mean, don't put crap out there. Come on. Don't be lazy. Just fucking do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool. Thanks, dude.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate it.
See you, buddy.
Cheers.